Formed by Star Wars director George Lucas in 1979, the Lucasfilm Graphics Group's computer division, guided by computer scientist Ed Catmull and Disney animator John Lasseter, spent the best part of the 1980s developing and pioneering technology that revolutionized digital filmmaking and computer-generated animation. Achieving much success, Lucas approved Catmull's proposal to spin the division out of Lucasfilm and rename it Pixar, after the company's groundbreaking digital compositing computer. Having developed numerous computer-animated short films and sequences for various features, the group attracted the attention of Apple's CEO and co-founder Steve Jobs, who to the tune of $10 million spearheaded a buyout of the group and their technology in 1986. Following Pixar's development of the Computer Animation Production System, or CAPS, for Disney, the two companies partnered to jointly produce the first ever feature-length computer-generated animation, Toy Story. Despite industry pundits betting on the film's failure, it became the highest-grossing film of 1995, taking in $362 million worldwide, and was graced with 3 Academy Award nominations and a Special Achievement Oscar. Thanks to Toy Story's success, Disney signed a contract to distribute and co-produce a further 5 features over the following 10 years, each of which was a major critical and financial success. And in 2000, the company was able to move into a lot in Emeryville, California, cementing them as a powerhouse animation studio. Pixar quickly became known not only for their spectacular animations, but for their attention to detail and impeccable filmmaker-driven storytelling, focused on heartfelt tales that touched on themes of hope, happiness, and togetherness. Though the Disney-Pixar relationship was soon strained, the almost decade-long period spanning 1995's Toy Story and 2004's The Incredibles, the last to be released under the distribution deal, was fortuitous for the two companies, spawning some of the most beloved animated features in history. In this video, I aim to rank all 6 films from what I'm dubbing the Platinum Age of Pixar animation, in order of my own personal preference. At that, let's get into it. Kicking us off at number 6, A Bug's Life. Pixar's second feature is one that doesn't get as much love as it deserves, and that is an anthill I will die on. Sure, it has a derivative story lending heavily from the hero's journey and films like The Seven Samurai, but it's one that works so perfectly, with a gorgeous heart and a beautiful message. Relying on an age-old formula was a great way for Pixar in their infancy to sharpen their teeth. Revisiting it for the first time since I was a kid, discovering all the Easter eggs and parallels with the vast world of cinema I've experienced since, was one of the most enjoyable aspects for me. It is a love letter to cinema history at an era where its landscape was rapidly changing. Regardless, it's a fantastically enjoyable adventure, teeming with exciting action, side-splittingly clever side gags, and terrific characters. It has an incredible vocal cast with performers that all bring something so quirky and charming to their respective roles. While the character animation may be a touch wonky, the worlds and landscapes are still some of the best seen in a CG animation. They're bright, punchy, vibrant, and feel real. 5. The Incredibles. While somewhat of a satire of the superhero genre, underneath is a movie that fits into it so beautifully and organically. Not only does the film feature some incredible action sequences, as good as those from any live-action comic book flick, but it manages to tell a mature, deeply layered human story about family and self-worth. In fact, Incredibles makes this element its focus, putting family dynamics and real human stories over superheroics and action sequences, with characters and situations that are highly relatable and easy to connect with. Predating the current comic book cinema craze, Incredibles almost certainly had an enormous impact on the films that followed, such as those from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, particularly in the way they juggle heart and humor with action and adventure. It's something the greatest comics could always do, but nothing that had really translated to the screen before. Incredibles isn't a film that was an absolute classic for me growing up, though I did like it and considered characters Pixar favourites. In more recent years though, I've found a deeper love and appreciation for it and its impeccable small-scale storytelling of a larger-than-life tale. 4. Finding Nemo. Easily Pixar's most emotionally and narratively layered film until that point, with a heartbreaking story almost unlike anything ever seen in animation. Quite simply a spectacular movie, not only on a narrative level, but on a filmic and technical one as well, as one of the most exquisitely animated movies ever. The pure technical brilliance of the underwater landscapes, their fluidity and realism continues to awe me. The colour palette is stunning, with deep blues so inviting you quite literally want to sink right into it. The score by Thomas Newman is one of the studio's best. Soft, tranquil, calming and inviting, adding such an ethereal and majestic air to the film, making it so easy to revisit time and time again. All of the characters are fantastic, each with their own comedic moments and beautifully fleshed dramatic arcs. They're all voiced so wonderfully as well, with great talents bringing such a tremendous weight and helping CG animation gain a more prestigious regard as Pixar continued to prove their dominance in the field of entertainment. 3. Toy Story 2. Taking everything that was so incredible about the first and doubling it. The scale, fun, adventure, and emotion. It's the perfect example of a sequel meticulously crafted as an essential piece of storytelling, and not simply told for commercial value. While the film does explore similar themes to the first, it runs in new directions and takes our characters to unpredictable places on a journey which is, at times, even more enjoyable, gripping, exciting, funny, and enchanting, introducing characters just as lovable. Pixar delved deeper and deeper into the psyche of the human condition, showing very early on that they weren't afraid to explore intimate storytelling with real emotion. Jessie's subplot is one of the most incredibly special and tender stories in all of animation, and Woody's dilemma, which mirrors that of Buzz's in the first, is likewise entirely gripping. It even utilizes the great sequel trope of splitting up the main characters and sending them on opposing journeys, opening up incredible storytelling possibilities. With Toy Story 2, Pixar proved their initial successes weren't just a fluke, and that they were a truly special team of artists and creatives. 2. Monsters, Inc. Again, Pixar excelled with bringing humanity to non-human beings, subverting expectations by taking familiar characters and putting a truly original spin on them. Two frightening monsters with hearts of gold, my favourite Pixar duo next to Woody and Buzz. Billy Crystal and John Goodman as Mike and Sully bring something incredibly special to the film. Their chemistry and comedic timing just makes it an absolute joy to watch. Monsters, Inc. is arguably Pixar's best buddy movie, a real journey between two friends filled with tons of screwball humour, spectacular adventure, and sincere heart. The side characters in the film are wonderful too. Boo is an incredible source of laughs and injects the film with its incredible soul, acting as the catalyst that sends our characters on their fantastic voyage. The villains are also great as well, bringing real stakes and sense of threat. The film's animation is absolutely beautiful too. It was Pixar's best at the time, breaking ground in animated fur and natural elements. It's so fantastic that it still seems so flawless almost 20 years later. It's one of the most charming and delightful Pixar movies ever. And coming in as my #1 film of the Platinum Age of Pixar, Toy Story. As one of the first films I saw in a cinema, this is an incredibly special movie to me. Despite being the first ever, I've still never found a CG animation that I believe is more perfect than Toy Story. It's not just perfect as an animated film, but as a film, period. Its attention to detail in story and character development is pure brilliance, immediately cementing Pixar as a force to be reckoned with. A studio which puts story and character at the forefront, a philosophy which they have mostly followed through with over the years. Toy Story is absolutely oozing with heart and soul, a film that transcends unreality, allowing the suspension of disbelief on a grand scale. After all, these characters that we all have such a meaningful connection with are toys. Woody and Buzz are easily my favourite screen duo, and their roster of supports make up one of my favourite ensemble casts. The chemistry between not only the characters but their vocal performers is electric. While the animation is slightly dated by today's standards, the superb storytelling, chock full of hilarious gag pieces and tender moments, still allows it to hold up like no other. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my other Disney animation rankings. I have ranked the entire Walt Disney Animation canon and am currently working on the Pixar canon. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to catch the rest of this series. And at that, it's over to you. Which Platinum Age Pixar films do you love the most and which ones do you love not so much? Fire away down in the comments below with your own personal rankings. But as always, remember to stay civil. To infinity and beyond. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos and you'd like to see more like it in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen, as well as that like button down below for that little extra support. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.